know what she said, she might just change your life.
And we are back in studio. Joining us now is Joanne Stewart, our favorite family lawyer from Lerners.ca. And today, Joanne, you walked in and we said, so Ashley Madison. And you said that's what started this whole topic that you want to talk about today.
Yes, it was. When I heard that some of the information was, or all of the information might be available, I thought, wow.
You thought, wow, I'm in trouble, or wow, good thing I don't have a social media profile.
No, not that I'm in trouble at all, but a lot of people would be, and seriously disappointed. Because a lot of people do post on that, and they would be shocked to find themselves outed, so to speak.
Well, Ashley Madison is a particular case. I mean, that's a website, but I mean, I'm trying to think, if I were married, trying to have an affair,
yes.
and didn't want my wife or husband to know, would I be posting my fantasies and nude pictures and all that stuff? Like, I think I would just, I don't know what I would do, but I mean, I would post as little as possible. I'm so afraid of that. I mean, we're talking about hacking all the time. So what should people be careful of?
Electronically?
Yes.
Everything. Because the thing about electronic information is you have no idea that it's true. Absolutely none. And even in our experience as lawyers, we have to meet clients. They need to come into the office with ID, a passport or something of that nature. And many times, my assistant will Google people so we can see what's going on. And she has Facebook, so I get Facebook information. And what I see electronically is not what's in my office. The person is completely different in appearance, and the story that the person has in the real world is not at all what the information is that's online.
So how
it's really unusual.
But how then does the electronic information impact a family law situation?
Well, there's a certain sense of value still I think we have in this country, and integrity and good character, even though they're old words, seem to really play a role. So if you present yourself online as a person who you are really not, and not even a tweak, a little bit of makeup, do your hair, okay, that's all good, but some persons are completely different looking, whether the picture is 20 years old and then photoshopped, and what they say about themselves is different. So the thing is, it goes to a lack of integrity. And as my mother used to say, once a liar, always a liar. And how do you tell if somebody lies, when it's a lie and when it's not a lie? So if the presentation is not a lie, but it's more than a tweak, what do you really have in front of you?
So you, going into court, are you ever faced with that situation where somebody is then saying, well, look at your client. Like, your client has no integrity. On the one hand, she or he is saying this, but on the other hand, look at this. Look at this stuff. Look at this Facebook profile. Look at this link or whatever.
It goes on all the time.
Does it?
It used to go on, just in terms of lawyers. Our job is to write things and present while we have to advocate for our clients. So even in the old days, and it's still now, we do affidavits, which is a sworn statement that goes in front of a judge. If we can just deal with paper and sworn statements, we can present our client the way we want the client to look.
Right.
Many times, though, then when we take our client in, the judge will actually, the glasses come down, the judge looks at us as though, client, and you said this. So there needs, even in the old way, to be a meshing. So if we take that overlay with our advocacy for a client in terms of presentation and optics, how the client actually appears and what the vibe is, which you can get the vibe from people when you meet them, and then we have the overlay of all the electronic stuff. It makes it very, very difficult, and to ascertain who you're dealing with in a court or even in negotiation, how is it going to go? You can't tell, because the person's all kinds of different people.
So do people who participate in relationships outside, let's say marriage or common law, do they get caught because of electronic information? Do people come to you and say, I creeped, I found the password,
They get caught a lot.
Really?
Because people think when they hit delete, something goes away, but actually it does not. There are servers in the sky or memories in the sky. I don't know much about all of this. But I know if we want to access printed versions of what was said, we get it. And if people get the codes and go into their spouses or boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, the phone, the BlackBerry, whatever it is, they get all of this information. And it causes real problems. And people say things and text things that really could not be said.
So, for example, a text chain
Yes.
can that be used in court? And let's say you did break into your spouse's computer.
Yes.
You broke in. He didn't give you or she didn't give you the password, but you broke in,
Right.
and then you copied out all this.
Yes.
Would then that be able to be used in court, or would
Because
their
you've done
lawyer,
something.
yeah,
Yes.
their lawyer
Is it
say
illegal?
no?
I don't know.
You've broken into, you've done something illegal. Yeah, exactly.
Well, in family law, at least in Ontario, lots of times the answer is it depends. And it used to be in the old days.
Maybe.
It depends. But it's true, because you remember in the old days when women ironed and were home and homemaking,
Yeah.
you'd find you'd find a business card or whatever from a woman
Lipstick
or
on the collar.
Exactly, all that stuff,
Right.
all the old cues. So now, is there an analogy between reaching in the pocket and finding a piece of paper and reaching into a computer or a BlackBerry and finding information? Arguably, yes.
Well, the Supreme Court just
Yeah.
said, I think at the end of last week, they declared in the United States that if you pocket dialed or butt dialed someone, the information that person heard on the other end of the line, they can use. So, I mean, if you're a stockbroker and you happen to be talking to, your business colleague about some kind of stock and you pocket dial a client, he is allowed to use that information because you made the mistake of the pocket dial. It's not protected. So
Well,
there
I
you
mean,
go.
That's it.
Yeah.
No, it comes up.
But pulling something out of somebody's pant pocket because you're doing laundry, hey.
If they left their iPhone in their pants pocket and put it in the laundry, they deserve what they get.
Well, are you telling me
that's
that?
just stupid?
Are you telling me that whoever's doing the laundry isn't going to check the clothes? Of course they are.
Yeah.
They're going to pull out change and keys.
I make serious money. I made $3 last weekend when I did the laundry.
You see? I mean, would you leave
That's
the money
where
in
you're
and clog and risk clogging up your machine?
Straight into my pocket,
So
baby.
in that case, that's understandable. That wasn't you trying to entrap them. But when you break into somebody's computer, come on.
But it really,
I just want to know if it's legal, because if it is, it's a
because-
good thing for our listeners to know.
the answer is it depends. If I break into your computer, not a good thing. Not good at all. That's criminal. If I break into my husband's computer, it depends. Because it depends on what I was accessing, why I was doing it. Is it really important? And in family law, say I find out that my husband wouldn't like this, but say he did something really, really horrible, and it was going to bear on what was going on in our family relationship, whether we're separated or whatever it is. A judge might want to hear that, illegal or not. Illegal or not, the judge may want to hear that and say you shouldn't have done that, but thank you.
Yeah, really.
So, but if it's something that nothing turns on it, most judges would say, "Could you please get that out of here?"
Now, I'm going to ask you something that we didn't talk about before, but
Yes.
we had a guest in here, Kate, remember, with a website called Is He a Dog?
Oh, yeah.
And this is administered by a few police officers, and it's basically, I think, trying to find out whether or not your spouse is a cheater. So if you...
Is he a dog?
Double G.
Yeah,
Oh, my
so
goodness.
if let's say you somehow, I don't know, I'm not exactly sure
They will.
how it
It's
works,
not not entrapment, but kind of entrapment.
kind of entrapment.
They start texting your spouse for you and
Oh.
seeing if they engage.
with a separate phone number, whatever. Would that be admissible?
That's really sneaky. I don't know. I
But I
think
guess
It's like hiring a private detective.
It's
What's
like
the difference?
What's the
Yeah.
difference? I mean, if you wouldn't go there unless you already had spidey senses saying there's something not right.
Yeah.
And women, I think people have good instincts when it's somebody that you're close to.
There's a
No,
weird- well, I don't. There's a weirdness to that. You can see my reaction. I'm thinking, oh, really? Do we have to? Don't you
well,
find that a
it's
little
just because you
something?
don't. It's just because you don't watch cheaters on TV, Joanne. That's
That's probably.
okay.
Is that a TV show?
No,
My God.
I'm just.
That's
Yeah,
it.
it is a little smarmy. However, for people who maybe can't afford a private detective, they just kind of feel something's wrong, and so,
I find that my reaction to that is I don't like it. So where would that go? I don't know.
in court, where would that
In
go? What
court,
I'm
I think-
wondering is,
well, when I'm thinking, I don't know, this just feels really weird. I think most judges would say too, this is really weird. Now, if it was somebody who was killing people, if it's a serial killer, bring it on. If the guy's running around, I don't know. I just think you can see how the nuances of that and the lines, like what is acceptable, when is it not.
since we have no fault
it's
divorce,
really
it
weird.
doesn't really matter anyway.
Yeah, well.
Does it?
Yeah, but okay. But in your opinion,
Yes.
then, in your experience,
Yes.
maybe,
Yes.
does use of these, extra marital dating websites, does it contribute to the success of the relationship? Because we heard a lot of people saying, I'd rather have an affair and keep my marriage intact, whether it was for, family or financial reasons, that they thought having an affair was better for the marriage than getting a divorce.
I might see the wrong sample of people, but my experience is affairs don't lead to good things.
No.
Unless both people are swingers. But even then, there are boundaries. When you get the swinging thing going on, the boundary, what's acceptable, what's not acceptable, one says this is okay, the other one says no, that's not okay, but they're within the confines or the range of swinging.
Of what they have agreed
That's
to.
right.
And once you stray out of what has been agreed to consensually,
That's right.
then
Yes.
it's as bad as having an affair
Yes,
for
it's like
other people.
it's like the bondage relationships. The people they contractual
Joanne, how do we
bondage
get from
relationships.
bondage,
Bondage
swinging?
relationships.
Like, you have a hell of a practice.
I do. It's interesting. But even though, with the bondage things, they're very clear cut, because if we're into choking each other and one chokes too hard and you're going to die, that's not what the point of it was, apparently.
Safe
Well,
word.
apparently
Safe
that's
word.
illegal.
People take it seriously.
Well, that's illegal. Apparently, you can't even
Consent to being hurt.
being choked.
Well, I don't know, because
You have
I do
clients
think
who do.
I do think that, well, and some people believe very strongly in this.
But BDSM,
Yes.
we had a dominatrix in to talk about this and to talk about how 50 Shades of Grey was not representative of the BDSM community, because
Yes.
the BDSM, and they just think he's awful. Christian Grey is awful because he's manipulative and abusive in the movie. But what they're saying is the BDSM community has clear-cut, defined contracts. And there's no sex involved in that unless it's, in a private relationship. But if you're hiring someone for BDSM, it's just BDSM. There's no sex. And the contracts are very clearly defined, and they respect them in that community.
Yes.
That was a short answer, Joanne.
Yes. Yes. They say yes. It's very. I find that there are a lot of shades of gray to me in that. But in fairness,
Pun. Okay.
She's good,
Sorry.
folks. She's really good.
Okay, go on. So you think that, if you are in a relationship that you're
Oh,
going
dear.
to consent to having extramarital sex, you don't find that these websites actually work for people in your experience.
I think they find the extramarital sex. I'm not sure they're helping their relationships.
So
I have not experienced yet one client who was pleased with his or her spouse enjoying one of these websites
how did they
and
find out?
relationships.
Give us a story.
Usually from the computer. A lot of times the computer is not even shut off, so the thing is open, you walk by, and there it is. Somebody had to run to the bathroom, and then the other one comes home.
Joanne, we're going to have to leave it there.
Okay.
And we look forward to having you again next
Yes.
month. It'll be a little earlier in the month, I think, because we're off for the last week of August.
Yes.
Now, relationships can be wonderful, complicated, and sometimes difficult. Counsel can make all the difference, whether you're at the start of something or the end. Cohabitation, prenup, separation, child custody, support, adoption, divorce, family law covers a lot of ground. Turn to a trusted voice to understand your rights, the law, and get results. Contact Joanne Stewart at Lerners.ca. Click the channel subscribe button for full-length interviews and more from What She Said here on YouTube.